What?
Jesus. Great stuff.
What do you mean, separate rooms? So, wait, you and George Nissan stayed in different rooms on purpose?
Yes.
So wholesome.
Is it really so strange?
Jessica's cheeks had been stuffed with the chocolate-coated Shinsuko biscuit that Shannon had brought as a present from Okinawa.
Jeez.
And it all came flying out at Shannon when Jessica cried out.
Shannon, why did you even go on a trip to Okinawa? You were even alone with George Nissan.
Well, he said there was a huge aquarium in Okinawa and invited me to go. And I like fish and stuff.
No, that's not the point. We're talking about a healthy guy and a girl going on an overnight trip, right? And you're saying there weren't even any hugs and kisses?
Damn, real Christian.
And seriously, what's up with that guy and girl staying in different rooms?
As for kisses, no comment. But we did hug. George-san's chest was warm.
That's not the point! Jeez. Why do couples like this exist? Jesus. I can't take it anymore.
From Shannon's point of view, it was an incredibly happy trip for various reasons, but it looked like Jessica found their pace to be pretty irritating. Why don't they just fuck?
It's like watching two snails try to fuck when they're across the room from each other. God.
Damn.
For a while, Jessica chewed her present, complaining about romance and pretending to faint in agony on her bed. Shannon and George had chosen to go to Okinawa because there was a huge aquarium there. They did this because an aquarium had given them the opportunity to start going out. Since the relationship had started at an aquarium, having the first overnight trip also be to an aquarium must have held some commemorative value.
That's like a huge commemorative turning point! And your first overnight trip? How could you not make all kinds of progress there? But instead, you both got separate rooms. A couple taking 2 single rooms. Jeez! Seriously, what's wrong with you?
But we are both unmarried. George-san says showing restraint is good manners for a couple.
Bless.
Like I said, the whole point of this overnight trip was so you could overcome that stage, right? You should be way beyond just kissing and hugging by now.
My lady, I don't know what you mean by that.
What else is there to do?
Needs to fuck.
But George-sama was a real gentleman with me until the end. That is, I mean, I also wondered if those things would happen, you know? But even though we're going out,
Yes,
I
Hannah?
mean, it's not like we're married or anything. These things you seem to be expecting, should only be done after making a vow before God,
Shannon's gonna like that.
I don't like hearing Nathan's voice say those lines.
Shannon's face got bright red. She made a circle with both hands, restlessly intertwining, separating, and making heart marks with them. Apparently, the dramatic progress Jessica had looked forward to hadn't happened, but it seemed to have been a very important experience for Shannon in her own way. In the end, whether Jessica was jealous of Shannon or made fun of her, it didn't change the fact that Shannon had a huge lead on her.
Damn. Jesus.
I want a boyfriend too! I can't believe you got ahead of me! Even though we promised that we'd find boyfriends at the same time, you beat me! Ugh!
You're a wonderful person, my lady, so I'm sure you'll find someone wonderful much quicker than me.
You didn't, though.
Don't try to console me! Shannon, you traitor. Get up. Get out. Shut up!
Jessica threw several cushions at her, but midway she had an asthma attack and started to choke pretty badly. Shannon hurriedly ran over to a nearby side table and started searching around on top of it. A cute basket was placed there, and inside of it was Jessica's bronchodilator.
Inhaler.
Shannon picked it up and handed it over to Jessica. Jessica's asthma attacks always came suddenly. Because of that, she always needed to carry this medicine around.
You ain't special.
She breathed in the medicine and, after a while, managed to overcome her choking as her asthma finally settled down. Shannon thought this a good chance to leave and tried to exit the room after bowing courteously.
Should have brought my inhaler. Fuck.
As she did, one more small cushion came flying and hit Shannon on the head. She noticed that Jessica was on the verge of crying, half her face buried in her last and favorite cushion. That face was red and meek.
Milady.
Shannon, be honest with me. Is my hairdo and stuff weird? It's a ponytail.
What are you saying? I think your hair is very beautiful.
Then are my eyes strange, or maybe my nose? Is it the way I talk after all? Is that why I can't get a boyfriend?
Of course not. Milady, you are wonderful enough as you are. And I think your charm will keep on increasing more and more from now on.
But I'm the only one who can't find a boyfriend. Sako and Hina managed to get boyfriends, but only I can't. Is it because I don't have any charm after all? You know, everyone says they'll bring their boyfriends to the cultural festival. And I was so sure I'd have a boyfriend before then, so I started bragging. There's no way I'll get a boyfriend. I'm the only one.
Before she realized it, Jessica was shedding huge tears. Massive droplets.
I hate how you said that.
Jessica didn't really feel like crying, and of course, she felt like supporting Shannon's progress in love as a friend. However, as she cheered Shannon on, her true feelings had suddenly gotten mixed in, and she couldn't help but shed tears. Shannon understood Jessica's innocent and easily injured heart. The rough style of speech Jessica usually used was all just an attempt to protect that fragile heart. As a daughter and successor to the Urashima family, and as a girl isolated on Rakenjima, the only person she could expose her true feelings to was Shannon. Shannon understood that, so she strongly regretted acting smug, even if it was only a little.
Sorry. I'm so weird crying like this. Sorry.
You are a wonderful person, milady. There's no way you won't find a wonderful man.
Shannon, it's about time, right? If you don't go quickly, Genji-san and Mom will get mad. I'm just fine, so hurry up. Sorry for crying like this. I'm such a moron.
Jessica faced away, acting as though she didn't really want to trouble Shannon, waving her hand as though chasing Shannon away. Shannon took that as a sign that Jessica didn't want to be bothered anymore, bowed her head, and left the room.
Shannon's my real mom.
It'd be like that. When Shannon's footsteps disappeared into the distance, Jessica lay down on her bed, still hugging a cushion. Her expression was still a little meek, with tears in her eyes, but for the first time in a long time, she had a very, very quiet and honest conversation with her heart.
I also want to fall in love.
Good morning.
The birds are singing, the grass is green.
The seagulls are crying.
All is right.
And on days like these, kids like you should be burning in hell.
And Shannon's in love, and I'm sad and depressed.
As Shannon happily watered the flower beds in the garden, she sensed someone's presence. She turned around thinking that if one of the family had come to visit, she must greet them. But what she saw was that witch.
Beatrice-sama.
It's been quite some time. How are you? Has your relationship with the one you love progressed since last we met?
As Beatrice sat on the rose ark, she happily blew on her pipe. Sitting in a place like that would crush the roses, and it might have been dangerous if the ark fell over her. But this was a witch, after all. Showing concern for her safety was probably a waste of time.
Yes. Thanks to you, it's going smoothly.
Naturally. The effects of my magic are immediate, Perhaps you feel your meeting was a predetermined fate. However, that is a mistake. Don't even think fate has anything to do with it.
I understand that.
The witch was calling attention to something. Two things, actually. First, that Shannon's relationship with George was a fate that would be absolutely impossible under normal circumstances. Second, that the power of the witch was great enough to overturn that fact. Shannon had just gotten wrapped up in those sweet days and had started believing the illusion that all fate revolved around her. But she remembered the witch's words. Originally, her relationship with George had been impossible. No, it might be impossible in the future as well.
Sorry, please forgive me. It's just like doctors. You cling to them when you're worried about your health, but after you're healed, you forget even to talk to them. I've never been thanked as a witch, so I can't help acting a little rudely. Forgive me.
The gratitude I feel has never slipped my mind. It's thanks to your power that I was able to achieve happiness, Beatrice-sama. And without that power, the fate that brought me and George-sama together would have never have happened. I have never forgotten that.
Sorry. It's not like I came here to bully you. Being rude is just part of my personality. Do forgive me. More importantly, I heard. So, you went on a trip alone with him. I imagine it must have been quite fun.
Yes. It was very, fun.
Shannon's face suddenly lit up. The witch laughed lightly, as though amused by the speed of that transformation.
Already, the one who cares for... you care for most... Already, the one you care for is more than the object of one-sided love. You are a pair of lovers now. When two people are filled with love, nothing else is needed to establish a complete world. Perhaps you could call that a wonderful, ideal world. Even witches would be jealous.
Beatrice laughed pleasantly. That smile made her look as though she blessed the lovers' rendezvous from the bottom of her heart, without a trace of malice. After that day, Beatrice had shown herself before Shannon every once in a while. Even now, Shannon thought of her as an unsettling being. However, she was also indebted to this person for the magic that led to her current relationship with George. So Shannon tried with all her might not to act surprised or scared.
That's right. Beatrice-sama, I bought some sweets as a souvenir from our trip. Would you, like to try some too?
Oh? A souvenir for a witch?
It seemed that even a witch who boasted of living for 1,000 years hadn't imagined that she'd receive a souvenir from a sweet lover's trip. When she saw that surprised expression, Shannon thought of this witch as a friend for the first time.
Hey, buddies.
Crew.
Squad. Rolling up. Crips.
Jesus.
Oh! An Eastern cookie made from wheat flour and lard. To wrap that in Western chocolate is truly a blending of the Japanese and Western styles. The Silk Road of sweets. What? What's so funny?
Nothing. My apologies.
The witch, who surely held a terrifying power, was chomping down on sweets one after another, making a sound like a squirrel stuffing walnuts into its mouth. After a while, Shannon couldn't conceal her laughter.
A good meal. I should serve you some dulce vita from Nero one of these days. Roses are the symbol of eternal love. I believe a rose dulce would be appropriate for you now.
The witch was in a great mood, fully enjoying modern candy.
Here. I truly am grateful. I believe you've done more than enough for me already, so I'm returning this.
The thing Shannon had softly set on the table was a gold-colored butterfly brooch.
There is no need to return it. If you could hold that your relationship should remain firm in perpetuity.
Maybe it was the power of magic that brought us together, but I think only the two of us working together can turn that into something that lasts forever.
Love and roses are the same. Too much fertilizer causes the roots to rot. Some flowers cannot be raised without hard work. In that case, do as you wish. You may wear it or keep it in a box. That is my goodwill given to you. Having you return it to me won't please me at all.
My apologies. That's not what I...
No harm has been done. That brooch is already yours. If you treasured that proof of our friendship, it would indeed bring me some comfort. You may hold on to it and gain its benefits. Or you may keep it in a box. If you wish, you may even give it to another who is worrying about love. Or you could simply treasure it. Of course, it would pain my heart if you wasted it.
According to Beatrice, she had appeared several times in the past in response to a person's summons to give them some tool imbued with magical power. However, when most people used that power to resolve their worries, they quickly grew unsettled by it, forgetting their former gratitude, and threw away the tools they had been given with disgust.
So, it is quite rare for me to be thanked for my goodwill. In fact, this might even be the first time.
The witch laughed heartily, but it looked like a sad laugh in Shannon's eyes. She herself had been like that in the past. No, maybe she was still like that now. Beatrice was definitely a witch with a strange and terrifying power. Most people probably wouldn't want to stick around her if they could help it. Surely, even those who had relied on that strange power sometimes felt fear rather than gratitude as a result. It must have deeply hurt the witch to have that happen over and over. Since the time she had started thinking that way, Shannon had tried to stop being frightened of Beatrice. This was surely something that had tormented the witch for over 1,000 years. Maybe she really liked those sweets. Beatrice, who normally spoke abusively, praised the black tea that Shannon served her and looked to be in remarkably high spirits. After doing that for a while, the witch and the servant grew animated in their discussion of the trip with George. The things Shannon actually knew about Beatrice were surprisingly few. First off, she was a ghost-like being who appeared in unexpected places at unexpected times. And it seemed that not everyone could perceive that she was there. Apparently, everyone has something called a wavelength, and the ability to perceive witches varies greatly among different people. Only Shannon and Cannon could interact with her enough to exchange words like this. There were a few people who could sense her presence, but most people couldn't even feel that much. From what Beatrice said, Krauss and his wife in particular had zero magical talent. And no matter how much she followed them around, they would never notice her. Once earlier, when Shannon messed up and Natsuhi got really mad at her, Beatrice had started playing around, hitting Natsuhi on the head with her pipe. Oh, makes sense.
I see. Natsuhi really doesn't notice a thing.
But Shannon, watching that, had burst out laughing without thinking and had gotten scolded even more.
Then, what about the master? I heard he's been doing research in magic, so I'm sure he'll be able to notice you, Beatrice-sama.
Kinzo is the same. He also has a pitiful lack of magical talent. It's the blood. He has so little talent that I pity him.
As soon as they started talking about Kinzo, I felt like the atmosphere around Beatrice changed. She had spoken about Krauss and the rest, lack of magical talent, as though she looked down on them, but she spoke of Kinzo in a different way. Anyone connected to the Uchinomiya family would know about Kinzo's Legend of the Gold. According to that, Kinzo was given the gold after summoning the witch Beatrice. In other words, she must have had some kind of relationship with Kinzo.
That was because he succeeded despite having not even a scrap of talent. He kept studying by himself like mad and managed to become a magician.
And that's something really incredible, right?
Indeed.
The witch, who usually looked down on people, was uncharacteristically offering her praise. While she lambasted him by saying he had no talent, she praised his efforts.
And then the master summoned Beatrice-sama with the power of magic.
Indeed. Well, I only answered the summons on a whim. After all, in this period where magic has long been denied, there was a man who was without a scrap of talent, yet so desperate to succeed. I thought I'd drop by and poke some fun at him, and that's when my luck ran out.
Her choice of words highlighted how much of a disaster this had been for her. Shannon hesitated over whether it would be safe to continue this discussion, but Beatrice continued on her own, ignoring Shannon.
After all, his contract did have a proper format and a set of rules. Various procedures were mixed up, but, well, in defense to his enthusiasm, I graciously accepted it. Then I gave him a mountain of gold.
And then the master used that gold and succeeded in business and grew his wealth into what it is today.
Indeed, his talent in magic was minimal, but it seemed he had a knack for business and gambling. Or perhaps it was due to the bravery and madness that led him to risk everything on unreasonable bets. Madness sometimes acts as a magical power. I see. If you look at it this way, perhaps it isn't quite fair to say he was completely lacking in magical talent.
Shannon felt like she was daydreaming. While everyone in the Ushiromiya family knew the story of how Kinzo idolized black magic, summoned a witch, and received the gold, in actuality it was all rambling that no one believed in. And now Shannon was having the story confirmed by the witch herself. She felt a little flustered by this incredible secret that only she knew.
Once Kinzo gained his vast fortune, he could realize every dream that can be satisfied by objects obtainable in the human world. And in the end, he searched for the truth of this world.
The truth of this world?
The single element that makes up the world. Kinzo, who had gained everything one can obtain in the human world, searched for that. The final desire humans seek.
The single element.
Oh.
She seemed to remember the witch using that word before. When Beatrice saw Shannon trying to remember what that was, she laughed bitterly, waving her hand and saying there was no need to worry.
I underestimated Kinzo just a tad. I truly didn't expect him to display such a power. And thanks to that, I'm in this state. I've been sewn in place on this island for several decades now, without even a friend to drink tea with. No matter who I try to talk to, my voice doesn't reach them. And no matter where I go, I cannot do anything. Such boring decades.
As she laughed in self-derision, she tapped her teacup with her finger. It made the light sound of pottery. Shannon didn't know whether the word self-derision was really an accurate expression to describe the look on the witch's face. Shannon didn't understand everything, but she could more or less figure out the situation. And it was probably a topic that she couldn't press the witch on easily, not unless the witch started talking about it herself. To sum up everything she had said up until now, Beatrice, who had been summoned by Kinzo's magic, could not leave this island for some reason, and she had lost her power and her form, living her days in boredom. During that time, her words had reached Shannon, who never forgot to show sincere respect for the witch, and Shannon, who had helped the witch regain her power, if only a little bit. As a result, it was now possible for the witch to drink tea with Shannon like this.
Beatrice-sama, what in the world was that mirror you told me to break?
Ah, that. Long ago, it seems various things happened on this island around this area. Because of that, malignant forces gathered here and began to draw in an evil distortion. It seemed a traveling Eastern magician or something built a shrine for the repose of souls that and sealed them in there. That in itself has nothing to do with me. But unfortunately, the magic power rested on a different foundation than mine. It created a strong interference with my magic and was extremely bothersome.
Is that how it was? And I just assumed it existed only to seal you, Beatrice-sama.
I was not its target. But it was a divine mirror. As a result, my power was sealed away. To use food as an example, maybe it would go something like this. Let's say the Western food I ordered is being made in the kitchen. However, when they try to set the table, the area for the guest seating is in a Japanese style with Japanese dishes. So, the kitchen isn't able to serve a plate that would be out of place, and no matter how long I wait, my Western food won't arrive. Something like that.
Please, that's so stupid, actually.
That is actually really funny.
That's a really dumb
Stupid
analogy.
dummy dumb.
I love this dumb queen.
Alright.
So, you destroyed that Japanese-style guest seating and returned the era to a blank slate for a time. Thanks to that, the meal I had ordered was finally delivered and my power came back, you could say. However, so far, only the aperitif has arrived. It will still be quite some time for the main dish. As I am now, I'm even more fragile than a shoe store fairy. What the fuck? What's so amusing?
Nothing. I just thought your metaphor was pretty funny. I never would have thought to use a story about food as a metaphor for magic.
I thought it was a rather skillful comparison, but I certainly didn't expect it to be laughed at. I'm a bit offended.
A slightly sulky expression rose to the witch's face. It wasn't a strange expression at all to be appearing on the face of some friends as they enjoyed their tea.
Although I may not look it, I was known for doing extremely brutal things in the past. Gotten soft. Now I can't even have a foolish discussion while drinking tea with a human.
She was probably talking to herself. As Beatrice gazed at the seabirds stretching the horizon, she put her tea to her lips again.
The clouds have come out. When the ocean loses its brilliance, it's nothing more than a gray puddle.
You think so? I think the ocean is a beautiful deep blue, even when it gets cloudy.
Maybe the witch noticed the deep meaning behind Shannon's words. She laughed lightly and set down her empty teacup.
It seems those things buried in your eyes aren't black pebbles anymore. How is it? Do you see how it feels for furniture to be born as a human?
Yes. I never knew the world was this kind.
Since the start of her relationship with George, Shannon's face had grown brighter more often. Her smile had made everything go smoothly and had even changed her fortune. Shannon made less mistakes in her work than she had before, and the family members' opinion of her was slowly starting to change. Just the other day, she had been surprised when Kraus, who rarely exchanged words with her, had suddenly started talking to her. You've been wearing a splendid smile more often lately, haven't you?
Wholesome.
Has something good happened?
No, but every day is fun, yes?
Wonderful. It goes without saying that coffee is more delicious when poured with a smile. Could I ask for that smile once more?
While you pour my coffee.
Yes, sir.
That had become a chance for Shannon to gain confidence in herself. Of course, it didn't go beyond her own heart, and it wasn't so big a change that anyone would notice. But she had begun to change, bit by bit. Shannon understood it clearly. Knowing love was the same as gaining a soul. The same as being reborn, from furniture into a human. There was absolutely nothing mistaken in Beatrice's words. By knowing love, Shannon had learned what it was to be human.
These have been unusual snacks. It was time well spent. It's probably about time for you to return to your work. So, let us end our tea party now. After all, it seems a certain person doesn't like seeing us drink tea together. Wink.
The witch gripped a teaspoon and flipped it with her fingers, sending it up in the air. After that, it was launched by the fingers of some invisible person and flew straight into a nearby bush.
What the fuck?
The bush shook violently and cannon came out.
Is Kaden a ninja? What the fuck?
It seemed,
Yeah.
His fucking jutsu just wore off.
A little bit, yeah.
it seemed he had been there for some time watching their tea party. The spoon was gripped in his hand. If he hadn't caught it in an instant, it might have hit him hard in the forehead and caused him to start oozing blood.
Fuck, that's a hard spoon.
I mean, it's metal. Do not worry. Our tea party's over now, Cannon.
How long were you there? If you had called to us, I would have poured you some tea too.
I imagine that you didn't want to interrupt a pair of women talking, right?
Cannon kept silent, but there seemed to be a slightly hostile look in his eyes. On the outside, he acted with respect. But unlike Shannon, Cannon did not trust the witch. When Beatrice hit the table with her pipe, the tea set turned into gold butterflies which flew upwards all at once. They then scattered in every direction and the cleanup was already done.
It was fun, Shannon. Let us meet again if the chance arises. My magical power is still quite lacking. It's tiring even to show myself.
If you're that tired, never appear again.
The fuck off, little bitch. Jesus.
Cannon had said it in a small voice, but the witch seemed to have heard it perfectly. She giggled but did not reply.
Shannon, tell me more about George at our next tea party. There are no snacks sweeter than a person's love life. See you again.
Beatrice's body also became gold butterflies, which scattered in all directions and disappeared. It was a fantastical and beautiful scene, like a blizzard of gold leaf. For a while, Shannon quietly watched the witch's exit. Cannon approached her from behind and spoke with an expression that was drastically different from hers. Nay-san, didn't I tell you to stay away from her?
Beatrice-sama isn't that bad of a person. Yes, she might be a little shady, but...
The fact that only we can see her is suspicious enough. That thing isn't human. Who knows what she might be planning?
Cannon-kun, I think that's a little rude.
There was a touch of sternness in Shannon's voice, which was unusual for her. To Cannon, who knew her well, she must have sounded extremely stern. Cannon, looking excessively surprised, considering Shannon's tone, fell silent.
It's true that Beatrice-sama is different from humans. She has a terrifying power, so I think it's right for us to fear and respect her. Still, I think it's incredibly rude to despise her just because she isn't a human.
I understand what you're trying to say, Nay-san. You've changed ever since she gave you that brooch. It's like you're her prisoner. She brought you and George Sama together, and now you're indebted to her.
Don't say things like that.
That thing isn't human. We don't know what she's thinking.
And nor are you, you're furniture.
Jesus.
Fuck up,
Fuck.
Cannon. Who are you?
So you
It's my
mustn't
son.
trust
Don't talk
her.
to my
This is why
son
you
like
got
that.
killed.
I'm talking to me or my son ever.
And we aren't humans either,
Fuck!
Nay-san.
At least he recognized that shit. Jesus.
Cannon's words grew more serious. Those words probably gouged at Shannon's heart. She bit her lower lip and hung her head. We are furniture. Even if we receive names and are treated as humans, that won't change the manner of our birth. You are no longer furniture. Those words Beatrice had given her, which had made her happiest, floated through Shannon's mind.
I am not furniture.
No, you are furniture. We are less than human. Nay-san, you're just pretending to have forgotten. Pretending to be human. You know that as well as I do.
I am not furniture. I'm human.
No, you aren't. We have never possessed what it takes to love or be loved. Cannon's criticism seemed to have shifted away from Shannon's meetings with the witch. Shannon picked up on that quickly. I heard from Milady. Seriously, what were you thinking? I can't believe you would go on a trip with George Sama. You've forgotten your place as furniture. You've just been tempted by that witch, mistakenly believing that you've become human.
Listen, Cannon-kun. It's true that we're furniture. Lesser beings, inferior to humans. But if it were possible to make up for what we lack, Wouldn't that be the same as becoming human?
Such a thing could never happen.
No, it could. If we can do that, we won't be furniture anymore. We can become human.
Ridiculous. As if you could ever do such a thing. Cannon spat those words out, but did so weakly and turned away. He was probably giving up. After all the suffering he'd undergone during those days he'd lived as furniture, his heart was firmly sealed.
You can do it too, Cannon-kun. You can become a normal human.
Stop it. That's the witch talking.
Yes, Beatrice-sama taught me. By obtaining the sealed element of this world, we can become human. Or rather, nobody's human if they don't have that. That's why people spend their entire lives trying to gain that single element.
I don't understand what you're saying, Nason. I don't want to listen to ranting.
Then I'll teach it in a way, even if you can understand. Look, see what I'm pointing at?
Shannon quietly pointed at the sea towards the horizon. Cannon didn't understand what she meant, and couldn't do anything except look between the horizon and Shannon's expression, which seemed to be posing a riddle.
The sea. Cannon-kun, what color does the sea look to you?
It was an extremely simple question. For a while, Cannon tried to guess at the meaning behind it, but he couldn't think of anything, so he answered obediently. It's a hazy, dark gray color. So what? Objectively speaking, the sea, laid out beneath a cloudy sky, could probably be described best by Cannon's words. But as Shannon closed her eyes and smiled, she shook her head slightly.
It looks deep blue to me.
Is that what you mean? Like how Japanese people use the word blue to refer to a green traffic light?
Nice.
I guess that's a thing.
No, the sea is deep blue. If I understand and you don't, then that's the difference between us. You're subhuman.
Jesus.
Bitch!
Cannon bit his lower lip and was silent for a while.
You're not a fucking person, Shannon.
I don't understand.
Cannon-kun, would you stick out your hand?
As Cannon was taken aback, unable to understand what she was saying, she took his arm and opened the palm of his hand. Shannon softly said something there. It was that magic brooch which she had received from Beatrice. A magic charm shaped like a gold butterfly that could bring love to fruition. This is hers?
No, this is mine. So think of it as me and treat it with respect, okay?
After being spoken to like that, he couldn't just throw it away. Cannon didn't know what he should do, and he stood there confused for a while, the brooch still on the palm of his hand. Shannon put the palm of her hand on top of Cannon's, and the brooch was warmed by both of their hands.
This charm holds true magical power. I'm sure it'll teach you an important emotion, Cannon-kun.
There's nothing to be learned from that person's magic.
No, there is something. So wear it. If that's embarrassing, I hear it's okay if you just hide it in your pocket.
Ridiculous. As if I'd let the magic of that person lead me astray. Even as he said that, Cannon couldn't be cold-hearted towards something Shannon was urging him to take. In the end, Cannon took it and agreed reluctantly, saying he'd prove that he wouldn't surrender to the witch's power. Shannon smiled and nodded back.
I'm sure you'll be able to learn something important from it. And I'm sure you can become human. And when you do, I'm sure this ocean will look like a beautiful blue to you as well, Cannon-kun.
Gray is gray, no matter how many times you look.
That's wrong, Cannon-kun. It only looks like that because you have no...
Colorblind.
Huh? Because of the howling wind, he hadn't been able to catch the main point of what she just said. So Shannon said it once more. The single element of the world. She spoke once more of the world where it existed, where the sea was deep blue.
I'm sure you'll be able to see a deep blue ocean too. After all.
Without love, it cannot be seen.
They're hugging again.
Thank you, sir.
He's in tears.
You okay?
I'm fine.
Oh, you're okay.
This is... Who is that? It is Cannon, Master. It was rare for Kinzo to leave his study. However, the fact that didn't mean his noble research had been suspended. He may have left the study because of a change in mood, but that didn't mean the thoughts filling his head were any different from those he had while inside the study. Kanon knew that no matter what the time, speaking to Kinzo when he didn't want to be spoken to would always disturb his research. It's cloudy out there. What? Oh,
That's
what is
Kinzo.
this? It's cloudy out there. Will it get worse? Yes. According to the weather report, it could rain at any time. Shall I bring an umbrella? It will not come to that. Leave me alone for a while. If my children ask, say that you do not know where I am. I am busy on a journey through my own thoughts. Certainly. Then, if you would excuse me. Before Kanon finished bowing, Kinzo had already returned to his own world, having forgotten Kanon's presence completely. And once again he began rambling to himself. Amidst those words, the name of that witch popped up many times. Oh, Beatrice, my hand will not reach your smile. What can I do to revive you? What can I do to make you smile at me once more? What is lacking? My research, my materials, my catalyst? Or is it magical power or luck or an oracle? Oh, Beatrice, what can I do to see your face one more time? Oh! As Kanon listened to his master's weeping voice, with his back turned, he turned around just once. Been a while since had a good Kinzo scene. When he did, right behind his isolated old master was the shadow of a person who shouldn't have been there. It was the witch. At once thinking that the witch must be plotting to do Kinzo some harm, Kanon dashed back to Kinzo and tried to form a shield with his body. But when he saw the expression on the witch's face, that emotion of his vanished. After all, Beatrice's expression was sorrowful, or maybe pitying.
You fool, Kinzo. Can't you see me? Even though I'm here?
Right behind Kinzo, as he repeated the witch's name over and over, desiring to be reunited with her more than anything else, was the witch herself. And yet, Kinzo didn't notice anything. When Beatrice tried to rest her hand on his shoulder, he didn't notice. Why does my hand not reach Beatrice's smile? Is it the age of the moon? The cycle of the comets? The alignment of the planets? What is lacking? What is?
It's useless, Kinzo. Without love, it cannot be seen.
Kanon took the brooch he had received from Shannon out of his pocket. By learning something new, would he become able to glimpse something he couldn't see now? Without love, it cannot be seen. He looked at Kinzo's back once more. The witch could no longer be seen there. Time? No time, that's right. We don't get those right now.
Time comes in on,
Yeah.
you know what the
Time
fuck.
is fleeting.
You know what the fuck going on, Scott.
Yeah, I do. Alright.